How's it going, boys? I know if you hang around this channel at all, it's been forever since I've posted a video, and I'm sorry about that. To be honest, I've kind of been unsure what I wanted to do when it comes to just the channel and content, and whether or not I really want to focus on, you know, game development, web design, or just Linux and, the fun parts of messing around with tiling window managers and little bits and bobs like Waybar and such. And I also, while being not sure kind of what I want to do with the channel and what I want to make videos on, I've had a ton of stuff going on in my personal life. Like right now, I probably look very stoned. I'm not. I have a corneal ulcer, which is very, very quickly healing, thank God. But it's a little infection in the eye, which I got because, I'm an idiot taking out my contacts and accidentally, you know, nicked my eye. So that's great. But I have gone back to using Hyprland. I'm absolutely loving it. I've also been working on my website, and that's kind of what I want to show off today. Very quick. For one, if you're interested at all in what I show off, I do have my Dotfiles and everything down in the description. I will also link the videos and tutorials that I watched to piece together and kind of cobble together and build the website that I'm going to be publishing, hopefully very soon. Hopefully it'll be up not too long after this video's up. I have absolutely loved using Hyprland, and I've kind of had to go back to it. I switched and was trying to use Xorg because the Pipewire echo cancellation just wasn't working as it should. I don't know what happened. They have fixed that. It's working just fine now. So that's great. But I did lose the Gen 2 challenge for anybody who was paying attention to that. Yes, I'm not using Gen 2 anymore. I will go ahead and load up my terminal here. I'll go ahead and increase its size a little bit, and we'll do a fast fetch here. And so I'm running Arch Linux, with a few packages installed, just a few. But I am using Hyprland. If we load up my browser here, you can kind of see I don't really have the actual proper Dracula theme set in here. But if we were to go to GitLab, you'll see it's themed. So, I'm trying to think of a better website to go to that's going to show it off. Yeah, here you go. You can see it's themed. Well, it obviously doesn't really take any brain power to see that it's themed. Clearly, I've been doing some theming setup myself. So the Waybar theme up here, it's got everything that you would really want out of it. It works perfectly fine on multiple monitors. It's got like a battery module for, if you have a laptop, obviously, got the Wi-Fi module. And you can just change out the network interface name to whatever you want to be shown there, and you're good to go in the config file. And if you don't already know, I have pretty much anything that you could want in my dot files. I have updated it with a new picture, all the programs I use, the features of my setup. I've got some commands here that you can run after a fresh Arch install to get all the programs that I use installed, and the few programs I have from the AUR set up and installed, and then clone my dot files with Yatum and set them up as your dot files, and then you can always go and build off from there. But if you wanted to use my dot files as a template, you can do that. And I've also been working a lot on my Vim RC, right here. So I have kind of condensed it down to as short as I can get it. And I know it looks like a lot, but it really isn't. A lot of it's just comments and like bling. There's the automation part at the top here, which this automates the first time you open Vim. It's going to ensure that you've got the Vim plugin manager. It's going to get Node for you, which is a dependency for COC, which takes care of your language servers for code completion. So all of that is taken care of and installed the first time you open up Vim after putting this vimrc in your home directory. And then it obviously takes care of installing the plugins, and the plugins I use are very straightforward, very straightforward. And then you've got general settings, which I think most of these are what you should be having in your config if you're going to be using Vim. And I also have the term kitty in here, which if you're using the kitty terminal, Vim will act weird. So without that setting, so definitely recommend putting that in there. And then the rest is like just theming and stuff. And I keep meaning to delete this right here, because this is literally just this little function up here, but I keep having it copied over into my dot files. So hopefully that'll be removed the next time you pull down the dots. But so you can go and get all of my dot files here. And I've spent a lot of time and effort trying to make my dot files the perfect template for someone to build off of, with a really full-featured, clean Hyprland setup. Pretty much anything you might want is in there. I have, in my opinion, probably the cleanest Hyprland setup that you can have. My configuration file is not crazy. The only thing about my config file that, if you want to try it out, you should probably keep in mind is the monitor section. Okay, just keep in mind if you have monitors with the same names, then you'll probably want to change the settings for them, or just remove the line entirely, just because the monitor line down here, the automatic one, would probably work for 99% of people out there. Even with multiple monitors, it'll probably work just fine for you. So, just the monitor section's really the only thing to pay attention to. And again, one of the reasons my Hyprland config can seem so long is I've got sections like this up here where I take it from the wiki and fully explain how the monitor line is set up, what the rotation numbers are, so you can figure out how to rotate your monitor how you want it. Like I've tried to make my config files self-explanatory and make sense. And so if you're interested in my setup or seeing more about it and what I use, you can always check out the Dotfiles repo. And also I have other repos on GitLab. So when I'm talking about my website here in a second, if you want to see that, again, that's going to be up on the GitLab. So, if obviously you could inspect the website and see the code there, but be able to download it, play around with it if you want to. So definitely keep my GitLab repo in mind. And we'll go over here to my website now. So I've just been working on it in my Vim config here. And I do genuinely love using Vim. It's just so nice, and I'm glad to not be using NeoVim anymore. I just don't need Lua. So I've got my nice little homepage over here. I've got some text effects going on. I've got a nav bar that pops out with a rotating little arrow icon. I know it's super small on this screen and I'm covering up some of it, but don't worry, it's fine. I'll scroll. But yeah, so I've got just some beautiful, beautiful little effects. And then if I go over to my About Me section, I'm using this as kind of a, kind of the whole website as a portfolio, but the About Me section is pretty much my resume with the obvious fact of like, specific locations and names of references and stuff left out. But yeah, so that's what I've been working on. And this website is going to have a place for me to have some blog posts, which I will most likely just write video ideas as blog posts, and then, make a video on it. And also, another thing while I'm thinking about it, I plan on taking my live streams from now on, unlisting them on YouTube, and then just giving the links out on Patreon. And that'll kind of be a good way to, give back to the people who, give me on Patreon, and also not really feel like I'm taking away from, just the regular viewers on YouTube. Because let's be honest, most people aren't going back and watching long live streams. And if you are, hopefully you'd be willing to support me over on Patreon. So yeah. But then I'm also going to have a gaming section. This is just going to be about the different games that I play, and open source games I play. And then the links section, or links page, will be for all of my various links, contact me, all that kind of good stuff. So I've been working on this, figuring out what I'm doing with my computer. And then when it comes to the Gen 2 challenge with Josh, figuring out how I'm going to, end up giving him his monitor, because that was, the cost if I lost. So we decided that the next time I'm up in Ohio, I'm just going to bring the monitor with me and bring it over to his place and give it to him. And we were thinking that for the Linux Cast, the podcast I do, if you don't know, you can search the Linux Cast on YouTube, and you'll find a podcast I do pretty much every week with a few great boys, Josh, Steve, and Matt. We have a good time. And sorry, my eyes bothering me. If I look weird at all, that's what's going on. But yeah, we do a podcast about every week. And next year, we're thinking maybe, hopefully, that we can all get together and do a in-person podcast. And if we are, that's when I'll drop off the monitor to him for, switching, because I can't help it. I like switching shit, especially Linux distros. Apparently, can't stop. But yeah, I've been working on a ton. Let me guys know what you think of the website that I've shown off here so far. And if you want to know how I'm doing anything here, whether it be the animated sidebar, the text animation stuff, all the different kind of stuff I've got going on here, you can ask away in the comments. But also I'll have links down in the description below for all the tutorial videos I watched to get me to where I am. So hopefully that helps you if you're wanting to make a website. And also, I do need to go ahead and say this is just CSS and HTML. Yeah, there's no JavaScript, none of that. It's just HTML, CSS, and then some SVG images that you can get from this website. And I'll leave that link down in the description below as well. So thank you for watching the video, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Boy.